I do detect a quorum with council members Gamble, Allen, Benedict, Cap, Cortez, Gadd, Harrell, Horton, Coopin, Parker, Rutherford, and Vo in attendance. We do not have anyone scheduled for public comment. And just to confirm, is there anyone in the back that has signed up for public comment that we didn't have on our list? All right, no one's for public comment. Also, you notice on your desk a tent card or tag that says committee member. If you are a member of this committee, if you would please put your tent card up so that everyone watching knows that you are a member of this committee. All right, before we get into the agenda, I do have a statement to read. As you know, this is a special call Planning and Zoning Committee meeting that was rescheduled due to the winter storm last week. Due to the inclement weather, postponement of this meeting and the council meeting, all of the zoning agenda items on public hearing must be deferred to comply with the required notice period in state and local law. The Vice Mayor, pursuant to Council Rule 29.2, has determined that the circumstances warrant holding zoning public hearings on February 20th. The second meeting of February is usually not reserved for zoning public hearings, so some of the items may be deferred to that date. Otherwise, they will need to be deferred to the March public hearing date. Members with affected zoning items were contacted last week to choose the date for the deferred public hearing so that notices could be prepared. And if you have any questions about the deferral notice or requirements, you can reach out to Michelle Hollingsworth in the Planning Department or Mr. Wilkinson in the council office. So basically, any items that were scheduled for public hearing today or for tomorrow have to be deferred to the earliest date of February 20th in order to comply with state noticing laws. So anyone that has a bill that is on the public hearing agenda for tomorrow, it will need to be deferred. All right, let's move into the agenda, starting with resolution. Well, let's start with the consent agenda. I'll read the numbers, and if anything needs to be pulled off, please let me know before reading the captions. On consent, we have RS 2024-181, 183, 187. Bills on second reading consent are BL 2023-140, 141, 144, 146, 147, 148, 149, and 150, and 151. Bills on third reading consent. We do not have any bills on third reading consent. Do any of those numbers that I call need to be pulled from the consent agenda? Did I skip over that? No, I didn't mean to. Is it on consent? Also on consent is, Bill 145, I didn't see that. I knew she had to add amendment. Okay. Well, I thought there was. Okay. I thought there was an amendment in the packet. Okay, maybe that was something else. Okay. Okay, also on the consent agenda is on second reading, BL 2023-145. So I will go on with the captions. On consent, RS 2024-181, Horton, Porterfield, Gamble, Parker accepts the Transportation Alternatives Program TAP grant through the intergovernmental agreement from the Tennessee Department of Transportation to the Metropolitan Government acting by and through NDOT for acceptance of work in connection with the construction of the James Avenue, 63rd Avenue North Sidewalk Completion Project. Also on consent, RS 2024-183, Coopin, Gamble, Parker authorizes Velocys Lincoln Commerce, SPE LLC, to construct and install an aerial encroachment at 211 Commerce Street. RS 2024-187, Vo Porterfield Gamble Parker authorizes a participation agreement between the Metropolitan Government acting by and through the Department of Water and Sewage Services and HCD Wedgwood 429 Houston LLC to provide improved public sanitary sewer service through the construction of an improved stormwater system. Bills on second reading consent, BL 2023-140, Vogue Porterfield Gamble approves the lease agreement by and between the Metropolitan Government acting by and through the Metropolitan Board of Education and Lead Public Schools, Inc., Cameron College Prep. BL 2023-141, Gamble Parker approves the conditional abandonment of a portion of Lock Road right-of-way. BL 2023-144, Coupon Gamble Parker authorizes the Metropolitan Government to abandon easement rights for property located at 636 Division Street, formerly a portion of Allison Street and alley number 200. BL 2023-145, Johnston, Nash, Gamble, and others authorizes the Metropolitan Government to negotiate and accept permanent and temporary easements for the North Crest Drive Stormwater Improvement Project for 4 properties located at 517, 521, 526 North Crest Drive and North Crest Drive unnumbered. BL 2023-146, Gamble Parker, an ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government to abandon existing public water main and easement to accept new public water and sanitary sewer main, fire hydrant assemblies, sanitary sewer manholes, and easements for properties located at Lucille Street, unnumbered, 1500 Dickerson Pike, and 2050 Lucas Lane, also known as City Vista. BL 2023-147, Vogue Gamble Parker authorizes the Metropolitan Government to accept new public sanitary sewer manhole for property located at 50 Music Square West. BL 2023-148, Evans Gamble Parker authorizes the Metropolitan Government to accept new public water and sanitary sewer mains, fire hydrants, assemblies, sanitary sewer manholes, and easements for property located at Kemp Drive, also known as 4307 Central Pike, Phase 2. BL 2023-149, Vogue Gamble Parker authorizes the Metropolitan Government to abandon existing public sanitary sewer mains, sanitary sewer manholes, and easements for property located at 300 McCain Street, also known as 4th and McCain. BL 2023-150, Toombs Gamble Parker authorizes the Metropolitan Government to accept new public sanitary sewer mains, sanitary sewer manholes, and easements for property located at 517 West Trinity Lane. BL 2023-151, Parker Gamble authorizes the Metropolitan Government to abandon existing sanitary sewer mains, sanitary sewer manholes, and easements, and to accept new public sanitary sewer mains, sanitary sewer force main, sanitary sewer manholes, and easements for 2 properties located at 3545 and 3551 Dickerson Pike, also known as Dickerson Flats. That is the consent agenda. May I have a motion? Thank you. Moved and properly seconded. Any questions or comments? All right. Motion, it carries. Now going. Thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. All right. Going back to resolutions. Starting with RS 2024-165, Greg Porterfield Gamble and others accepts a grant from the Tennessee Historical Commission to the Metropolitan Government acting by and through the Metropolitan Historical Commission to complete an individual National Register of Historic Places nomination for the Elks Lodge at 2614 Jefferson Street and the architectural survey in the Donaldson area. May I have a motion? Second? Thank you. Moved and properly seconded. The sponsor is here. Would you like to say anything about that? All right, Councilmember Gregg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm supportive of the resolution. I just have one question, if I might ask the Metro Historical Commission if the Donaldson neighborhoods have been identified where the survey will happen.
Thank you, and I think we have, oh, wait a minute, Okay.
Thank you. Tim Walker with the Metro Historical Commission. And they have not been identified as of yet, but we'll certainly work with you and other council members to make sure you're a part of that process.
Thank you. Very helpful.
Thank you. Any other comments regarding this resolution? All right. All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. And Mr. Walker, if you want to stay close, we have 2 more dealing with the Historical Commission. RS 2024-167, approves an application for a federal historic preservation grant from the Tennessee Historical Commission to the Metropolitan Government, acting by and through the Metropolitan Historical Commission to fund Phase 4 of the countywide cemetery preservation plan with a focus on survey activities. May I have a motion? Moved and properly seconded. Let's see, this one is by Councilmember Porterfield Gamble. Well, Mr. Walker, if you want to tell us a little bit about your application and plan for survey activities, that would be great.
Sure. This is a grant we've gotten for the last 3 years. It's a 5-year grant. We've divided the county up into 5 areas, and so this 4th area will cover roughly 20% of the county. I don't have those list of neighborhoods. There is a little bit of flexibility, but again, we've completed almost half of it at this point, and this will allow us to continue on with this grant and cover the county.
Great. What is the time frame for completion of the project?
It will be another 2 years, 2.5 years.
Thank you. Okay, fine. Gad, why can't I find you? Councilmember Gad.
Thank you so much, Chairwoman Gamble. And this is also for you. Hey, Tim, thank you so much for being here. So first of all, I know this is a latter part of the phase, so you all have already been doing this work. And I would love just to have a little bit of information on what you're seeing so far with the overall survey and kind of where you are, what this phase completes. I was reading through some of the exhibits, and some of it's a little bit above my understanding, probably just more context. And then also wanting to understand with this overall effort, if we're looking at some of our historically marginalized communities and through the cemetery, it just seems like a very exciting opportunity to make sure we're holding the history that needs to be preserved. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that if you don't mind.
Happy to help, Councilperson. Again, as I said, this has been ongoing for several years as we're trying to cover the county. We are making a concerted effort, and in those council districts, we're offering to have community meetings and reaching out to folks. That's a very important thing to do when we're trying to discover some that may have been forgotten or essentially lost. And we've found a number of cemeteries. To date, we have over 600 rural cemeteries throughout the county. These are small, generally family cemeteries, but some of them are associated with former churches. And again, as through this community effort, we're really making a concerted effort to find those from minority communities. If we can, some of those are the most fragile and the first to go. So it is a long-term effort to do that. And, you know, we're really building on a project that started over 30 years ago, jointly with the Planning Commission and Metro Archives and the Colonial Dames. It's building on all of that work. So we already had a working database. We were just trying to enlarge it and make sure we're capturing as big of a picture we can at this time.
Thank you. All right, with no further discussion, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. And we need to go back. I skipped over number 2, RS 2024-166, Porterfield Gamble, Allen, and others accepts a grant from the Tennessee Historical Commission to the Metropolitan Government, acting by and through the Metropolitan Historical Commission to provide a comprehensive countywide cemetery preservation plan for Davidson County, Tennessee. May I have a motion? Moved and properly second. Any questions or comments? All right, with no discussion, all those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Moving on to bills on second reading, BL 2023-142, number 9 on your agenda by Coopin, Porterfield, Gamble, and Parker, approves a participation agreement between the Metropolitan Government of Tennessee Stadium LLC for the design and construction of a sewage pump station and associated lines and equipment. May I have a motion? Moved and properly seconded. Let's have a discussion. Mr. Mendez is here from administration, if you'd like to give us a little bit of information about this. Sorry, there you go.
This bill is a participation agreement between the city and the Tennessee Titans to build a sewer pump station. And the starting point on this is to understand that the only sewer pumping capacity on the East Bank right now is inside the current Nissan Stadium. So once that is demolished, there will be no sewer pumping capacity at all on the East Bank. Left to their own devices, the Titans would have put another sewer pump station inside the new stadium. But because Metro is going to need sewer pumping capacity in the area for the development on the rest of Metro land, we've asked for the capacity to be combined into one sewer pump station. But we wanted the Titans to pay fair share for what the stadium was going to use. So we studied the expected usage for the Titan Stadium and concluded that they would use about 20% of the capacity for the sewer pump station. And so the Titans are participating by contributing 20% of the cost, about $6.5 million, and Metro will pay the rest, the other 80%. And the way it'll work is the Titans will build it. The Titans will spend their money first. Metro's money comes after that. And the location of this station is between the two bridges on Woodland Street and James Robertson Parkway, close down to the river. So that's the basic outline, Chair.
Thank you. Any discussion? I do have a question. Do we know what the impact might be for existing residents and customers or future customers?
Well, as far as existing, there are 0 existing residents, so no impact on existing residents. For future residents, where we're at right now is without a sewer pump station being built, you couldn't build any residential units or mixed use or any other use on the East Bank. So this will facilitate being able to have sewer pumping capacity for new uses on the East Bank besides just this football stadium.
Great. Thank you. Why can't I find people today? Councilmember Prepti.
Thank you for recognizing me, Madam Chair, even though I'm not a member of this committee. I just had a quick question for the administration with regard to the location of, or the anticipated location of this pumping station, and whether or not there's been consideration taken into sort of the floodplain along the East Bank, but just due to like how things occurred with the major flooding that Nashville's experienced previously, how we plan to sort of mitigate the risk of natural disaster.
Sure. On this one, the short answer is yes, that's definitely been taken into consideration. Luckily, Director Potter and the Water Department are acutely aware of the risk to infrastructure from flooding. And my understanding is that this is being designed to be 2 feet above the 2010 flood level, but Water can give more details if I've messed that up.
Yes, this is, well, it's going to be built.
If you wouldn't mind identifying yourself, sir.
I'm sorry. I'm Sarge Chief Engineer at Metro Water. The pump station is going to be built at between the two bridges. Everything electrical will be 2 feet above, but stations are low. Sewer stations especially are low. So it will be at whatever the final elevation is. So it's not like the station can be up. The pumps will be down, and the building will be built at whatever the final elevation is, but everything electrical will be 2 years above the 500-year flood.
Any follow-up?
Just briefly, just so I understand. So even if there's a flood that is upwards of at the 2010 levels, the pump station would still be able to be operational and wouldn't risk the structural integrity of the operations.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Councilmember Gadd.
Thank you so much, Chair Gamble. And also thank you to the administration for being here and for that explanation. That was very, very helpful. And it's my understanding that from the last council, some of the agreements were probably approved of what would be the pay exchange. So depending on usage of what the Titans is paying for the substation and what Metro is paying. Is that right? And could you break that down for me? Does that make sense as a question? I can clarify.
No, I think I got it. So there wasn't any legislation passed in last term about the sewer pump station. If Metro wasn't building anything on the East Bank, the Titans would, just like the current stadium, would put sewer pumping capacity inside the new stadium. And it's really the city that would like it combined with the capacity we need for what we're going to have built on Metro and private land outside the stadium. And so this is when the current administration went through the transition process, this was a thing that was 3/4 baked. They got put on our plate of like, hey guys, if you want to open a football stadium on time in spring of 2027, you need a sewer pump station, get on it. And so we've picked up that ball and tried to move it forward so something can be done with sewage generated by the new football stadium in a few years.
That I appreciate, Chairwoman, thank you for the time here, but I appreciate that. That helps me kind of understand timing and kind of what's been in place and the development of this agreement. And so the what's the amount that, or remind me of what the amount that the Titans are paying and for the part of the stump?
It's $6.5 million for the Titans and about $26 million total for Metro.
Okay.
And again, it's Titans spend their money first, then Metro Water spends the next money.
And that was on usage base, right? Is that
Right.
what I remember? Okay.
Yeah, and if y'all really wanted to hear the details, the water department get into more weeds, but there was a lot of analysis done with other NFL stadiums, modern, newer stadiums, to figure out what the expected flow would be out of the football stadium compared to the overall capacity of the station, and 20% is what we came up with.
Thank you for that, and thank you for sharing that. I think you shared some of that information in the last committee as well, and so I appreciate that information here. I think the last follow-up I have is probably a follow-up to what my colleague lifted up, really about resiliency, and I know that's been responded to, but just maybe a better understanding of any kind of resiliency plans that have come through and what the administration may be looking for as we're addressing all the effects of what climate impact is going to look like over the next few years and responding to floods and other natural disasters in that area and across the county, but specifically in that area.
Yeah, and we can talk about more at the East Bank Committee meeting or offline if you want, but resiliency, given what happened in the 2010 flood, is right up near the top of the things we're trying to pay attention to and what we do on the East Bank.
Thank you. All right, without further discussion, we're ready for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, thank you. Moving on to items on third reading. BL 2023-105 by Councilmember Coopin amends Title 17 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws and Zoning Ordinance of the Metropolitan Government by changing from R6A to SP zoning for properties located at 909-917 Cheatham Place at the southeastern corner of Cheatham Place and 10th Avenue North to permit 8 multifamily residential units, all of which are described herein. And Councilmember Coopin has an amendment to this bill. Would you like to introduce your amendment? You could if you could speak into the mic. There you go.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move the bill with a brief comment.
All right. Motion to move the bill. May I have a motion? Do I need to? Well, he wants to move the bill.
Oh,
Are you not going to move your amendment first? Okay. So we're going to move the bill first. May I have a motion to move the bill? In a second. Thank you. Moved and properly seconded. Now, Councilmember
so
Cooper.
the brief comment is that I'd like to move the amendment to attach it to the bill. We've got one more small tweak we need to make, so then I'm going to want to defer it after that. But my understanding is I'm going to move the amendment first, attach it to the bill, and then move the deferral.
All right. Would you like to give us an explanation of the amendment?
We're working with the developer in the neighborhood to kind of tweak a couple things. So this amendment changes some step back requirements and then also some material requirements to codify the neighborhoods agreement with the developer.
Thank you. All right, we need a motion to move the amendment. Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on the amendment? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, your amendment is on the bill.
Great, thank you so much. And then I'd like to move to defer it to the February 6th meeting.
All right. Move to defer the bill to the February 6th meeting. Moved and properly seconded. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, thank you. Motion approved. Moving on to the last item on the agenda, February 6th meeting. BL 2023-106 by Councilmember Coopin authorizes building materials and restrictions and requirements. We probably could have taken these together. For BL 2023-105, a proposed specific plan zoning district located at 909 and 917 Cheatham Place at the southeastern corner of Cheatham Place and 10th Avenue North to permit 8 multifamily residential units, all of which are described herein. May I have a motion? Moved and properly seconded. Mr. Coopin, you have an amendment for this one as well?
I'd like to do the same thing all over again. I meant to put those together. I'm sorry. So I would like to move the amendment.
All right.
Please.
Motion to move the amendment. Moved and properly seconded. We're on your amendment.
And I'd like to move to the February 6th meeting, please.
All right. Amendment approved. Motion to move to defer the bill to the February 6th meeting. May I have a motion? Moved and properly seconded. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, thank you. That concludes our planning and zoning meeting for tonight. Thank you.